All right, let me see if this is working. Da, 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 blah, 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 blah. It is. I'm going to flip that over. I'm going to put this here. And I'm going to leave that. And everything is good. First question, what is a good life?
Ooh. Honestly, I think that depends on who you're asking.
Yes. Well, I mean to you.
To me, I think a good life is one that reflects goodness, and kind of the definition of goodness that one has. So goodness to me is like philanthropy, altruism, generosity, those things that make someone selfless. I think living outside of the self really is the best way to a good life. My experience has shown me that, and I mean that's basically what every religious text ever says.
Right.
Is that living outside of the self is really the best way. But also being able to, I guess, reflect the culture that you're living in, in some kind of way, but also not promote, but perpetuate the culture in a more advanced way. I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now. I'm a little nervous, but yeah, like to me, if I were to look at my life and say, 80 when I was 85 years old and say, yeah, I've had a really good life, I would look back and basically, I would see myself present no matter what the circumstances look like, and I would see essentially the condition of my heart instead of the circumstances around me. And if I could judge my life based on the conditions of my heart, I think that that's what would determine whether or not I've had a good life. So if the conditions of my heart were to, we're walking around in my life, let's say I'm like a heart just walking around, just imagine a little animated heart dude. Like if that, was my heart gloomy? Was my heart sad? Was my heart wanting more? Like, presently the condition of my heart, despite my circumstances, because they really suck right now, is that I'm joyful. I'm joyful most of the time. And joy looks very different than happiness. I think that's what determines a good life.
Yeah, joy. I want to. First of all, I agree that I'm going to say it in my version, and I hope this resonates with what you were saying. But a big part of it is the reaction to circumstances, not necessarily like the circumstances themselves. And I think that what you were saying about selflessness is important. I think there is a reason why it is in many religious texts, and the underlying reason seems to be that an indirect approach, a community-based approach to life, where you, instead of saying what's best for me directly, you say what's best for somebody else, and then you indirectly receive help from someone else, seems to be I'm not going to say a fact of human nature. I don't know if there are facts of human nature, but it seems to be a strategy that produces a good result. Instead of saying what is best for me all the time, say, hey, maybe what is best for somebody else, in the hope that they will reciprocate, I guess, is what it's, I guess. But yeah. Now, what I want to comment about is joy versus happiness. What do you mean by that? What are they? You're saying they're different. What are they, and how are they different? Because I think they're different.
For me, happiness is the external expression of joy. And just the way that I perceive it. So like when I'm happy, the circumstances and my internal state of being are the same. So my circumstances are going for me, are falling into place in the way that match what's happening inside my heart, right? Yeah. So like let's say I'm feeling joyful in my heart today, and I go to the store and I find $20 laying on the ground. That would make me happy. Right? That would give me that external expression of happiness, of that joy. It would give me the smile on my face. It would give me that twinkle in my eye. It would bring me some impermanent sense of someone else looking at me and validating my experience. So joy, though, I don't necessarily think is an external expression of anything. I think it's an internal expression of what is valuable to a person inside. And so essentially what that means is, for me is that, and this kind of goes back to the stoicism we were talking about a little bit ago. It's I am joyful. I might not look like it though. I can look at someone and I got, RBF, right? And I look like I'm going to punch somebody. But inside I'm actually joyful and I'm actually happy. Like, I don't think it necessarily has to externalize. I don't think joy externalizes the same way at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't use the same description, but I agree with what you're saying, that there is an internal state and an external state. And I would add on that sometimes people can have the external state and not the internal state. So there's lying is real. So I value the internal state for myself, and I try to value it in other people. But the question is, how do you measure it in other people? In yourself, you can just know, okay, this is how I feel, regardless of how somebody else is interpreting my face or whatever. I know this is how I feel in this moment, whatever. But for somebody else, it's a little bit tricky because, especially if they're trying to deceive you. But it's tricky because different people will express that internal state of happiness or joy, that internal state. People will express that positive internal state in different ways. And like we were saying earlier, a stoic in particular might resist expressing the internal state even when they are experiencing it. So it can be really difficult to read.
I think a stoic would resist joy.
Would resist the joy itself?
Yeah, I think that
and by joy you mean the internal state.
Yeah, I think that a stoic, this is my experience with people who are stoics.
By the way, I'm not an expert in stoicism at all.
I'm not either.
So I might be
I was raised by a bunch of stoics.
Okay.
So my family grew up in the Masonic Temple, and they have, there's sort of this mystery around Masons and all this other stuff, right? There's secret societies, like there's all these rumors or whatever. And so one of the facets of it though is essentially adopting stoicism and not giving away those secrets. Having a poker face, if you will. And my dad has adopted that. That is who he is. And so never being able to read him, and then being curious though, like why I can actually read people really well, like through their micro facial expressions, through their behavior, through whatever. And
you're like the lie to me character.
Yeah,
or at least you think you are.
Well, I mean, get a lot of formal education and experience in behavioral analysis. It's hard to beat. It's hard not to. It's hard not to. Behavior is more than this, like moving the arms around or something, or yelling or saying things. Behavior is much more than that. It's a posture. It's it's a lot of different things. It's all of those things combined. Anyways, wait, I lost my train of thought. So the stoicism thing.
Masonry.
Yes. So I think that Stoics actually resist any feeling that they might associate with an external state of being, and I think Stoics tend to misinterpret external states with internal states. So I think in that way, a lot of Stoics that I've met anyway resist all things that are beyond plain.
Which, in your view, is a bad thing.
No, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that that's someone's choice, if that's what they want. It's not always even someone's choice. It's just like, maybe that's how they were raised, We can't control that.
You can't control how you were raised, that's true. And also, they may be viewing it from a slightly different perspective. I know that whenever I hear someone making an argument for like more variation or excitement, one thing I keep in mind is like, that's not true in every area of their life. So there are some things that people would like to be stable. For instance, the weather, right? If it were 1,000 degrees one day and negative 1,000 the next, that would not be exciting.
No.
That would be life-threatening, right?
Right.
So for things that you depend on, it is actually a positive trait to be what would otherwise be characterized as boring or stale, because those are the things that I think we take for granted. But it's good sometimes for things to be boring or stale or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And in other instances, obviously, it's boring and stale for things to be boring or stale.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see both sides of it. And but I think in the cases where I have been accused of this, my response is always that, well, the thing you're measuring probably isn't the thing that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Like you want, if you're building something in particular, then you want a solid foundation, and you don't need your foundation to be exciting. Maybe the building as a whole will be exciting, but the foundation process might be boring in order to achieve the exciting building. So it's like, what is the final goal versus what is like an intermediate step? Might be a difference between like the stoic, I guess, and the I don't know, gypsy. What's the opposite of a stoic?
I don't know.
A wild person. I don't know. Super expressive, whatever.
Yeah.
Is that maybe the area that they are expressing themselves in is the end goal, and not the foundation for something else that's the end goal. But maybe it is. Maybe I don't know. It's different for different people.
Yeah.
You want your tires on your car to work. You don't want them to sometimes this, sometimes that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So.
Well, I think that's the beauty too of the differences between all of us. Like,
Yeah.
you know, there's everybody deals with things differently. How weird would it be if we were all the same?
Yeah, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good. Yeah. You want.
Well, we wouldn't be having these discussions.
Yeah. You want some things to be a little on edge and other things to be a little more solid.
Yeah.
And different people, different goals.
Yeah.
All right. My next question, and I always try to like warm people up for this one. You know, it's feel free to abstain. I'm an asshole for asking. Blah 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 blah.
Okay.
What do you think happens after we die?
Oh. Okay. The polite answer. I always have multiple answers.
All right.
The polite answer to this is I don't know.
Okay. You don't know is the polite answer.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, because, you know, anything, if I were to sit and purport that I know anything, the fuck kind of ego would I have, right?
Hey, I mean.
I'll be honest. Like, seriously, am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah.
I forgot about that, sorry. But like, yeah, I don't know. That's the polite answer. I'm more curious about other people's experiences with this. However, the honest answer for me is that depends on what culture and religion you live in.
Yeah.
You know, and my truth for what happens after we die is whatever we believe. I think that whatever we believe happens when we die is what we shall experience. There is some scientific evidence that of a soul, so to speak, it weighs about 3 ounces.
What is the evidence for that? I've never heard.
No,
this
there's
before.
there's a weight difference in people who die. So there's 3 ounces of substance of some kind that after a person dies is no longer there. It's like 3 to 4 ounces. And there's lots of theories about that, of what that is or whatever, and I don't think it's gas, you know, not everybody carries 3 ounces of gas in them, right? Like, but a lot of people think it's a soul. That's our soul.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that our soul is actually not internal, but it's an external, it's our aura, so to speak, and that our soul actually protects the physical body.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things, but my truth is that I'm more inclined to believe that I'm more inclined to believe in reincarnation, honestly. It makes the most sense to me, even from the Christian perspective.
Wow.
I believe that eternal life is possible. I've also had a lot of spiritual experiences that I can't account for.
Yep.
And some Christians would say they're demonic, the Bible would say they're demonic or whatever, and truth be told, I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah.
But I think that reincarnation is the most likely, and I think that it gives our soul, whatever the soul's purpose is, I think it gives our soul the opportunity to learn and grow in wisdom multiple times through different bodies and through different experiences, through different cultural experiences. But as a Christian, I'm not allowed to believe that.
Yet you do.
What else would I? Well, yeah, dude. Yeah, absolutely.
You're going to hell.
Well, maybe. What do I know?
Yeah, no, fair enough.
The polite answer, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would love to sit and believe that I'm going to live in some beautiful, eternal, wealth-riddled, heavenly place, because my life here has been really hard.
Yeah.
And I would love to believe that. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah.
And to me, that's sort of something of the substance of manna, which they talk about in the Bible, is spiritual food given by God to get us from one moment to the next. You know, the Israelites that were in the desert for 40 years, and you know, multiple generations of people. The manna was essentially spiritual food signals given by God to say, for God to let them know, hey, I'm here with you. It's okay, keep going.
Yeah.
Right? And to me, that's kind of what heaven is. And I might go to hell for this, sorry God, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think that this is going to sound very naive, but I actually think that our lives have a lot to do with our conscious experience. And I think that's all we really have direct access to. And I think our conscious experience is at least loosely connected to the brain. And I think our conscious experience ends when we die. And then, you know, the body and everything decomposes. But I also think my conscious experience ends when I faint or when I go to sleep. So in that sense, I don't think it's that scary. I think it's scarier to think about it than it is to recognize the reality that it's already happening regularly, that you are not having a conscious experience, or that I am not. So,
so you think consciousness, so you believe that consciousness is only consciousness because you're experiencing it?
I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
I would say that...
what about subconsciousness?
I would say the experience is what we mean by life. And that will end, I think, when we die. But I also say that did not exist, probably. I don't think reincarnation is the most likely. I think that more likely is that we have one conscious experience. And for most of time, we have not had that conscious experience. So this is like the special time where it's like, hey, you know, we're having a conscious experience. But for most of the time, we haven't, and for most of the time, we won't after. So the norm is actually to not have it, I think. And I think we just return to the norm.
So you're familiar with like chemical or, you know, physics type laws, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So long ago, I had this theory prior to really thinking about it from a spiritual standpoint.
Yeah.
So from a physical standpoint, because I was very much the scientist and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So the most sense that I used to make of dying and what would happen when we would die, and this is when I was having a lot of like, you know, you could call them ghost experiences or whatever, or even like prophetic things, and you know, playing with tarot cards and having knowledge that I shouldn't have and stuff like that, divination, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Basically, I had this theory, and you know what quarks are then, right?
Not precisely.
They're subatomic light particles that have no mass,
Okay.
and they're mostly theoretical, but they do have some proof of them. But
Okay.
they're basically imperceptible as a single unit. So like quarks are, but they know they exist. So this is like philosophical, theoretical physics, right? That
Okay.
I'm not super versed in, but
Okay.
but I
Thank
can.
you. Yeah, I was gonna say, well, but I'll let you finish. But
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So quarks are subatomic light particles, and the only reason that we really know they exist is because we can see them when they are amassed in more than, you know, several million or whatever. So anyways, I had this theory that basically as we age, you know, and one of the laws of the universe is that matter is neither created nor destroyed, right?
Okay.
So like all of the whether it's subatomic light particles, quarks, or whether it's our actual, but quarks actually make up the physical matter that we experience, even though they are matterless in substance. So it's kind of neat, right? So like this table is made of quarks. We only can see the differences in the wood because of that. So
Okay.
I kind of believe, I still kind of believe that this energy that we have, that we experience, as, you know, body movement and consciousness and our soul, like whatever that is, as we age, you know, we lose that energy. It goes back into the universe to be recycled
Okay.
in whatever way. And so like people who die very suddenly or very traumatically, that energy kind of stays stuck, and it takes a longer period of time because there's no physical movement that's able to move that energy. So like ghosts or whatever you want to call it is that energy kind of stuck in like one repetitive pattern in one place. But after we die, though, let's say you die a natural death, you're very old, and that is essentially when all of the energy and essence of who you are is no longer available. There's no more of that quark-like energy to give you that body movement and stuff like that. And the energy has dispersed back out into the universe to be reused and recycled.
Okay.
That was another theory that I used to have a long time ago. It's quite changed now to a spiritual. That's what I think physically happens when we die.
Okay. Yeah.
I know that was a lot.
Well, the
My
connection,
brain.
the connection between quarks and ghosts, I think, is maybe looser to me than it is to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been inside my head a long time.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Okay, well, how is she going to use the fact of quarks to make this argument? It sounds. Yeah. Let me.
Quarks are is also how I experience the Holy Spirit.
It sounds. Yeah. It sounds like what you're saying is because quarks are, in some sense, theoretical, which I think they might be less theoretical than you think. I think they have been measured, in which case I don't think they're not as theoretical as a pure idea. But since quarks are theoretical, they are somehow connected to another idea which has not been measured, I think is the connection. But I think that's a very loose connection. Yeah, I think that's a very loose connection.
Yeah. I don't know anything. I literally don't know anything.
Okay, good. Yeah,
These
that's
are-
good that you start with that.
Yeah, for real. I know
Yeah, yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
These
Okay,
are
fair
these are
enough.
ponderances
Yeah.
of the echo chamber that is my mind. Like
Yeah.
for sure.
I also don't know about quarks. I barely know about electrons.
Quarks
and-
are interesting.
Yeah.
They're very interesting. Actually, so one of the books I'm working on is called Sparks and Quarks, and it's.
You're writing about quarks.
Well, I'm not writing about quarks. I'm writing about the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
But
Fair
you know,
enough,
so I'm writing about like. So sparks essentially is Jesus, right? Because Jesus is the light. That's what the Bible says. And so, and Jesus gives light and gives life to the dead. And, you know, there's like all these stories of these miraculous things that he's accomplished and the lightness that he brings to the world, right? But quarks is the Holy Spirit. And so Jesus is what's the word I'm looking for here? Jesus essentially is the human manifestation of God's Holy Spirit. Right, and so I have this book I kind of want to write about that stuff and that connection there. I don't know yet. We'll see.
Okay.
But one of my favorite things, though, one day I was riding on my scooter. This is fairly recently since I've lived in Sacramento, and like I was somewhere down in Midtown on my little scooter, just totally lost. Have no idea where I'm going. My thing is in my pocket. I have my earbud in, and I'm trying to pay attention to where the hell I'm going with my directions and all this other stuff. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, God, can you just help me get to where I'm going? Because I'm so lost right now. Like I'm literally lost. And this car drives by and it says Quark on it. And I was like, all right, I see you. Okay. All right. And so that's the manna stuff that I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
so like
yeah.
God gives this spiritual food to keep us going. But I thought it was really funny. I thought it
Yeah.
was cute. Anyway. I don't know, it was a random story, but
This no, that's a good story. Thank you for the story. First of all, if you're in Midtown, I want to recommend another competing coffee shop, which is Old Soul.
oh yes,
Yeah,
I
would
love that
recommend
place.
It's a cool vibe. It's not as full as.
I like the bookstore next door too.
Oh, nice. They also have.
Oh, I brought a
bike-
book for you, by the way.
Oh, nice. Thank
Yeah.
you. I brought what was I going to say? Oh yeah, they have a bike shop that's in the same spot, which you know. I used to ride fixies, if you know what those are.
Which Old Soul? Are you talking about the one in because there's multiple.
Yeah, I only know the one that's on L and 17.
Yeah, okay.
It's in an alley.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a loose connection between the physics world and the spiritual world, but I don't think it's as strong as many people think it is.
From metaphysics.
Well, I'm not talking about metaphysics. I'm talking about the nature of the ideas in the physics world and the ideas in the spiritual world. Sometimes seem very similar, but I think there is a big distinction between them. So what they have in common, from my perspective, is that they are things that people don't directly experience, and actually that really is the connection. What I was going to say is that is the connection. The things that people don't directly experience. So,
Okay, wait,
so
say that again. Say that again a little more like streamlined because I got lost somewhere.
physics and spiritual ideas, the thing they have in common is that some physics ideas
Oh,
are
I see
about
what you're
things
saying.
that we don't directly experience, and
Yes.
some spiritual ideas are about things that we don't directly experience.
They're the things that we don't know.
Yeah, they're about things that.
The
Well,
science of-
that
the
I
science
think
of not knowing.
That's what I think is different, is the knowledge aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is a process that generates physics ideas that is the spiritual ideas are not vetted by the same process.
Mm-hmm.
So they are vetted by the process of what large groups of people accept as true. Whereas the physics ideas are almost the opposite. It's what very, very small groups of people accept as true and
Yeah.
promote to everybody else. So the question is, do you agree with the process that the small group of people use to vet the ideas, or do you not agree with it? I think most people do not agree with the process that generates physics facts, which is some combination of theorizing, measurement, mathematical modeling. Most people have no interest or understanding or agreement.
Or
with-
competence to study it.
yeah, well, not even to study it, but the idea that that process will get you an answer that is true in the world is completely bizarre to a lot of humanity. Whereas the process of using or trying to explain otherwise unexplained experiences is a process that a lot of people feel is very credible. So you say, hey, I saw a ghost. Hey, that person saw a ghost. Hey, that person saw a ghost.
Yeah.
Okay, we all had an experience. Now let's explain that experience. Oh, okay, how do we explain it? Well, it's quirks. Somebody dies suddenly. All right, cool. Now we have an explanation for an experience.
I love those.
Yeah, we have an explanation for an experience that we all agree with,
Yeah.
right? That's not how physics works.
Right.
Yeah, it's totally different. It's
I'm
hey,
picturing you as like the referee, like on recess. Okay, all right, everybody, calm down. We all had a ghost experience. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Blow the whistle.
No.
Sorry.
Here's the thing. A lot of people who are in the world of science possibly have never had a ghost experience. So there's always going to be this argument, well, the reason they don't believe this stuff, they never had the experience. If they only had the experience, they would be on the same side,
Yeah.
right? A lot of people who have had these experiences are not aware of the scientific method, or they don't have any experience doing it.
Yeah.
So they might think, yeah, these guys, these bean counters or whatever, they're coming up with this stuff that happens to work some of the time. Actually, I don't even know if people are aware of where physics works.
Right.
But,
or the scientific method, because
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but they're like, okay, these guys are saying stuff at, they're teaching stuff on blackboards. But that's not real.
right.
What's real is my experience of, my grandpa died, or, I fell in love. That's what's real. This blackboard stuff is basically bullshit. I think is the opinion of probably the majority of people.
Yeah.
Now, I am a person who has one foot in both of these worlds, because I don't think the blackboard stuff is bullshit. But I've had experiences. And the biggest difference, I think, is how do you explain the otherwise unexplainable experiences? That is where I would disagree with a lot of the spiritual approaches to life, is that the experiences are valid, the experiences are true, the experiences are real. But the explanation for the experiences I disagree with. And the reason why I disagree with it is because I've had exposure to other methods of finding truth. And they do not hold as much water, in my view, as the other methods.
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is where do you think like testing in both worlds, whether it's like applied physics or, like where do you, or like even the spiritual world, spiritual testing or whatever, like a testing
Yeah.
of one's grit or whatever. I almost said a completely different word. That it's like what do you think about testing and its application in those places?
Testing of one's grit. Let's say you are.
That's another similarity I would think. That's another similarity that I would think between those two things. You need
It's
testing
testing.
for both.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Okay. Well, I think the physics case is the easier one, or maybe the science in general case, which is that you have a model or a description of how something is supposed to work, and to test it, you just say, in the model, if I change this, what will also change? then you change that thing and measure whether or not what you predicted actually is the change. So that's how it would work, I think, in kind of the science world. It's based on some model that you're saying, this is our best guess. If our best guess is correct, these are the consequences. If you changed one thing, what would change as a consequence? Then you change the thing and see if the consequence actually changes. And you do that for as many parameters as you need to. And you get a better and better model that is never correct, but always better than the last one. And hopefully takes into account the phenomena of the last one. So that is the science case. And I think testing is a big part of what makes it useful. Is that you can check to see if whatever you thought was the case actually is the case. Hopefully, I know there are some cases where that's not true. I think like when it comes to space stuff, people don't run tests in space; they just observe stuff. So like they're like, oh, we think there are black holes. Well, there's no knob you can twiddle to make a black hole, but you can look for them, and you could say, well, if it is real, then this is what we would see, something like this, and then you just keep looking till you find something like that. That's not exactly the same as testing, but it is trying to verify a model. So in that sense, they're similar. But now, the spiritual case, which is the more interesting one, I'm sure. How do you test spiritual ideas? I think right off the bat, the correct approach, in my view, is to accept that many spiritual ideas are unverifiable. That they are just beliefs that you can decide to have without ever confirming or denying them. Well, I guess what I mean is without ever fully confirming. You can deny them, I guess, if they have specific consequences and they don't happen. But
yeah, you can cherry pick religion all day long.
Yeah, you can.
Let me
also,
take the convenient things.
Yeah, well, I would argue that's what most people do. But
yeah,
I don't know if we want to go down that road. But
we could. Why not?
Yeah. So, but I do think that. The case you mentioned was grit, I think.
Yeah. So, like, essentially looking for validity with spiritual grit.
Spiritual grit.
Testing essentially is always a measure of validity, in any scientific method, whether it's physics or social science or whatever. It's and even in the spiritual world, I'm just kind of wondering, like some people will say, for example, God's testing me right now, right? And so that's kind of what I mean, is it's like when we're talking about testing, right? So like essentially we're looking for validity. Can this test be repeated? Is this a solid method for dealing with something? And it, like, I guess the perspective that I'm coming from is like spiritual methodologies.
Yeah.
Methodologies is essentially like, how do we get through the day to day?
Yes.
How do we get through the day to day? How do we experience and make sense of? I'm gonna wait until they pass. How do we get through the day to day, and how do we make sense of the world around us?
Yes.
Which is another way that physics does the same thing. It's like, how do we get through the day to day? The thing that's kind of on my mind is like spiritual validity through testing comes down to like big horrible life experiences like war or like famine, like those things that affect whole populations, diseases, stuff like that, where physics wouldn't. The fuck is physics gonna do?
Yeah. Well, there are things physics could do, but physics wouldn't do it, but yeah, some knowledge of physics could help some things. But
so I was just curious what you think about like the testing version of spirituality. Like can you, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I understand. I think I understand what you're getting at. So spirituality seems to cover two domains at the same time. One of which overlaps with physics. One of them that doesn't. So, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but one of them that does overlap, I think, is models of the universe. This is what the world is like beyond what we directly see. Both make claims about that. Some say the way the universe is, for example, the world is sitting on top of a turtle. you know.
Great.
Okay, that's a model of the universe.
You've read Discworld.
I've heard this somewhere. I don't know what the influences are. I don't know the core like primary source that came up with that, but I've heard it through the grapevine. That is a model of the world. That people don't really believe that now, but that's one place where they overlap. But a place where they might not, which I think you're getting at with famine, disease, whatever, is how do you live your day-to-day life? And there are problems that arise, emotional, whatever, that we deal with as human beings in our day-to-day life, which a lot of spiritual teachings help people navigate in a way that learning facts about the universe will not help you navigate alone. The facts themselves will not help you navigate.
Yeah.
You know, knowing how large the sun is not going to, like you said, help if you're going through a famine. It's not going to help you make a decision. The decisions are more of like, for instance, character-related things. Hey, in what situations should I sacrifice for someone else's benefit? Or in what situations should I show restraint? And how do I live amongst other people properly in a way that's sustainable, in a way that will produce good results for me and for them? These things are not, you know, facts about the sun aren't going to help in those areas. And spiritual teaching seem to cover both. What I would say is they're wrong about the models of the universe, flat out. But they are right about many of these teachings about how to live your life. Probably most of them, especially if you build in the fact that if you're living within a spiritual community and a lot of people in that community are also living by the same ideals, that feedback loop can produce really good results for everybody in that group. Now, it could also go wrong. Everyone, for instance, you could be in a place where there's like a lot of multicultural interaction wherever, a large city, and if everyone in that city is from a different religious background and they're all fundamentalist, there's going to be some overlap which may result in bad results.
Right.
So yeah, people could say, you know, we're on this strict diet, and anybody who's not on this diet, we kill them. Okay, well, if you have one other person who's not on that diet, now it's a disastrous result, even though, but if everyone were on the diet, it could be a beautiful result, you know? So yeah, it gets to the point of it's like, or there is a benefit that can come with these teachings that are, in my view, wise. I think it's something that people learned over generations and taught to the younger generations. Hey, we've gone through trials and tribulations, and we found that these behaviors consistently produce the types of results that most people seem to want. So just do these behaviors and don't worry about it. But there are limitations to that. And I think that, I don't think that learning facts about science alone can solve those problems at all. But I also don't think the solution is for everyone to adopt a specific spiritual practice. I think it's a piece by piece type of thing, depending on the person and depending on their, you know, whatever they're already bringing to the table, whatever their personality's like, whatever their upbringing was already like. Yeah. Generally speaking, do whatever your ancestors did. I think is the best reaction to like.
That sounds terrible. You're talking to someone who studies intergenerational trauma. The fuck? Hell no.
Wait, let me
I will not do what my ancestors did. Absolutely not.
Wait, let me finish the thought.
Not.
Start by doing what your ancestors did, and then edit from there.
I mean, from a spiritual standpoint, I guess you could say I've done that.
I would say start from the wisdom that's already in your direct, maybe not your direct ancestors, but whatever community you were part of as a child, start from there and edit from there.
So from the world of V.C. Andrews and oddly inappropriate youth reading.
No, this might not work for everybody, but neither will following a strict religion, neither will rejecting every religion, neither will anything. But if I were to give blanket advice, which I'm not actually interested in doing, I'm just trying to answer your question, is I would say, whatever is the norm for you when you're young, start there and then edit from there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, but do you agree with my take that a lot of spiritual teachings provide these, what I consider two separate domains, one that overlaps with science and one that doesn't? That one of them describing the world or the universe or whatever is known outside of our direct experience is in my view totally different than giving strategies or recommending behaviors. Like, hey, these are strategies for how to live with other people, or these are behaviors that you should try to adopt because they generally produce the types of results that people want, that you might want. And there is overlap, which I didn't talk about, but I'll do it after your answer.
So do I agree with your standpoint on that?
Yeah, that those domains could be separated, and that science has something to say about one of them and maybe less to say about the other.
I mean, yeah, like there's not much room for disagreement on that. I mean, I think anybody who's lived in this world could probably see where that's applicable for sure. I think that there's like, I think there's a few things though that's a hard question to answer, because there's a lot of things that, from the sociological standpoint, we're not bringing to light, right?
Yeah.
So there's a huge aspect of privilege there.
Yeah.
That, you know, college is not the truth for everybody. Access to knowledge is not the truth for everybody. I mean, shoot, in fact, I've met people recently who didn't learn how to read until they were in their mid-40s, which is like, what? You know, it seems kind of crazy, but it's a thing. And this, of course, these are small groups of people. These are small populations where that's a thing. But I you know, so if we look at privilege, we look at, you know, if we look at populations who tend to be more religious versus, you know, like America, in America, in Japan, large portions of Asia, China, Korea, there's a huge religion of education. You know, we have this religion of education where that is the way to gain access to how to manipulate the environment. And that essentially is what religion is. That's how we connect. Spiritual, you know, spiritual religion, two sides of the same coin, essentially. Spiritual, in my opinion, talks about again, we go to that internalizing and externalizing thing. Spiritual is an internal state. Religion is an external state. You know, so you can only base my religiosity based on what you see me doing in my everyday life, right? So to someone who's not a Christian, I might seem like a very religious person because my actions show that. I read the Bible every day. I talked about every day. I do these like religious behaviors, but my internal state, I'm just a very spiritual person because I consult with something that I cannot see, that I feel here, not here. And I'm pointing to my heart and my head. I should probably say that. So, okay, so that's the other thing too, is like go, dude. Really?
That's the downside of being outside.
The
No.
bumblebee, besides all the fucking traffic noise, but
Dude, bees are like, let me just say something about bumblebees. Bumblebees have always loved me, and I don't know if it's my hair color, they think I'm a fucking flower, I don't know, or it's my smell, I have no idea. But bees are always like attracted to me, and they're always single bees,
Yeah.
and I always get stung in weird places. Recently got stung on my knuckle. Yeah, it was just on my hand. And, go away. Anyway, I get stung in weird places. So that's the only reason
Are you finished with your drink?
yeah.
but it's not just going to the drink. Right? It's maybe if we take it in, it would help, but I don't know if that actually would help.
Punch this bee right now. It's too cold for you. What are you doing? It'll be okay. I'll live. Okay.
It'll be okay.
It'll be okay. Maybe I have a bee tattoo. It's a thing.
Oh.
Yeah. Actually, recently was looking into getting some new hobbies, and once I get my own place again, looking into beekeeping, just for funsies.
But you hate bees.
No, I don't. I don't hate bees. I don't like being stung by. I don't like being surprised by the sting. That's my issue. I don't even mind being stung. If it's on my hand and I'm fucking with a bee, that is the expectation. I don't like the surprise.
Yeah.
I don't like the surprise of it, and it always fucking surprises me.
Okay.
To be
Good
fair.
know.
I think that's how I live my life.
Yeah.
I will fuck with dangerous things, but
You need to know that there's danger there.
right.
Yeah, that's fair.
I like the heads up, you know?
Yeah.
I totally lost my train of thought. Okay, where's the B now? Oh, there it is. It's fine. Okay. Okay, what were we talking about? I lost my train of thought. I got distracted by the bee.
Yeah. Well, we can forget about it for now. Last thing. What is love?
Ooh. I just have all these answers for everything. I don't know. I think there's multiple ways I can answer that question. And, you know, for my experience of love has been, it's been challenging, you know, because the way I experience love is not, my partners have shown me is not the same way that they experience love.
Yeah.
And that's challenging when two people are not equally yoked in that area.
Yeah.
And for me, love, so if you're talking about romantic love, because that's always the first thing that comes to my mind.
Yeah.
Romantic love is, bro. Yeah, it's called the bee bro. It was a bee bro. Romantic love is tricky because, and I didn't used to think that it should be that complicated, and I still believe it shouldn't be that complicated. If you have two people who are equally yoked in communication, in intimacy, in life experiences, and all that things, it doesn't seem like it would be that complicated. Only when life challenges happen. If you're on the same team as someone, stay on that team. The fuck you trying to leave the team, you know? And legit, it's not a game of Red Rover, you know?
And just to be clear, the assumption is this is a monogamous.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. I've been in poly relationships. I mean,
and even then, if you're on the team, stay on the team.
Yes.
Yes.
Dude, seriously. There's still one team.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Because, I mean, even if you're in a polycule, essentially there's one team. And taking it from the approach of, now I'm getting angry.
Oh,
taking
please.
it from, so I've been the primary and I've been the non-primary. And, you know, I've been in a polycule where we all knew each other, you know, to some extent. It wasn't kitchen table poly, but it was definitely like, hey, what's up? You know, like, cool, no big deal. You know what I mean? And it's, the way that I've come to understand the team is it's like what is best for everybody involved.
Yeah.
And so if that's the team that I'm on, that's the team I shall stay on.
Yeah.
And if it's not best for me, but somebody else is trying to, and what I mean by switching the team is it's like going from being on a team to being a selfish person.
Yeah.
Because that's something that happens too. Or, you know, someone gets kicked off the team for whatever reason, you know, and it's like, it's, to me, what I hear, or what I'm hearing from myself is just unconditionality. You know, there has to be unconditional acceptance, and this is what I think of love. Romantic love, non-romantic love. It's like there has to be unconditional acceptance and an unconditional awareness of this person's existence. And it's like the moment that person's existence starts being forgotten or questionable or even negative, then that's like, is that love? I don't know. But that's not how everybody experiences love. Some people experience it through sacrifice. I think that, so this, the only way I can do this is just to give you an example. I've been in relationships mostly with alcoholics, like, my long-term, like, very serious relationships were with alcoholics, and some of them were sober, some of them were not. And the alcoholic is a severely selfish person. You can call them neurodivergent if you want, but, you know, there's this, I kind of joke about, you know, autism and alcoholism almost being the same thing because there's a selfness about it. You know, aut means self, right? So selfism, alcoholism, there's still a lot of selfishness when you take the alcohol away. It's still fucking selfism, right? So when you're on that team, someone who's potentially neurodivergent or whatever, it's like they may not always be able to be considered on the team, but a lot of times when that piece is connected of I'm going to go over here for a minute. I'm just going to go bench myself for a minute. But then I'm also still a part of the team, and you consider yourself a part of that team, and you're still considering the other person. Then to me, that's love.
I bought a bag.
You know?
He said if you buy another one.
But there's, but even still, I don't know. I don't see love as sacrifice, but I've also sacrificed myself for other people too, to the extent that they would never do for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know. But there's also self-love. Self-love for me looks like taking time, quality time, really intimately listening to myself the same way I would with another person, giving to myself generously when I can, you know, and I don't mean gifts or material possessions, but like I give myself the gift of exercising and dedication to my body. That I think it's the same in any relationship. Any relationship is the same. Kids, you know, parents, whatever, you give that gift of yourself to that other person. I think that's love.
Yeah. Yeah, I do see love as sacrifice, but I see everything as sacrifice.
What are you sacrificing?
Well, time for one, but peace of mind sometimes I'm sacrificing. Yeah, there's it's sometimes it can be a source of uncertainty that I would rather live without, but you know, I'm willing to deal with. I think that in the long term, it kind of benefits me to be in a situation where I feel like I am giving up something for somebody else's direct benefit. And I guess the way I think of it is like there are things I could do to directly benefit myself, and there are things that are more indirect, and I view it more as an indirect thing, indirect like benefit to me than a direct one. Being in love, whereas like, you know, there is it's almost like it's more on the investment side than it is on the like I'm paying a cost for a benefit, but there are some things that are, in my view, pure benefit, where I don't pay much of a cost at all, and but there's only so much I can get out of that. You know? Would you rather have $5 now, or pay $100 for $5,000? You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, if I don't have 100, then it's easy. I'll just get the 5 now. But if I have 101, now it's difficult because I'm like, do I really want to go back to the $5 days, or do I want to just get this, you know, this short, quick benefit, I guess, or just, yeah. So I think there's heights that you can't reach without making certain decisions that involve sacrifice.
Then I wonder about that word that you use, heights, in reference to love. For me,
what is a height in love? That doesn't resonate.
So
with you.
that word speaks to me. So we're gonna go semantics.
Uh-oh.
To me, that word puts a picture in my mind of infatuation, not love.
Okay.
To me, I think infatuation is kind of the difference between joy and happiness. Infatuation can be that externalization of love, sure. You know, you can be attracted to someone physically, you can do the behavior of love, but at some point it's not sustainable, because when things happen, life happens, right? Life gets lifey or whatever, then it's like, oh, is that love actually secure here?
Yeah. To me, that is the height.
See, to me, this is depth and breadth.
Yeah.
You know, the depth and breadth is different than height. I mean, and I guess depth is a form of height. It's measurable in that way, right? But like, but it's more like the difference between throwing, you know, a big ass iceberg into a pond versus throwing like a pebble.
Yep.
You know, like, I don't know. So I'm curious about this word. I'm gonna have to think about that a little bit.
Well, I don't think you have to think about it very much. I can relate.
Probably not.
No, I think I can relate it directly to your scale. So in your scale, the depth and breadth is you can survive through a very difficult time together. That, just define that as the highest.
It doesn't have to always be difficult either. I think there's joys to be happened in life. I've just missed out on most of those, I guess. I don't know. births and all of that stuff, happy social things. It's not been much of my experience, but so my only reference is to difficult times. Is that's when my relationships tend to end. Is when difficult times come, not when there's good times.
Yeah.
Which also speaks to me that unconditionality of it.
Yeah.
But like so
I will say on the engineering side, they were usually
so in love
Yeah.
for you, like what do you have a goal?
Right now, no, I don't. But I think in the long term, I will. One of the things that I think of now is that I'm 30 and I don't have any serious health problems. But I imagine if I did, then one of my goals would be help with my health. Someone to have someone who is already motivated to keep me alive would be a huge benefit in that situation. Versus like convincing somebody, hey, keep me alive. To be like, oh, you already want me to be alive. Great. That's better than not having that.
All right.
No, this is not the same thing as love.
Yeah.
But this does seem to be a consequence of love for many people.
Yeah.
Is that, oh, you love somebody, you want them to stay alive, right? Yeah, most people would agree with that. They wouldn't say that is love, but they would say
Well, she talked
that
about
is a
euthanasia and
consequence.
then
Yeah, well, to me that would be
love and mercy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, but that would be one aspect of it. Yeah, I don't have goals. My goals are the same as my personal goals, which are like peace of mind, some aspect of internal joy. I don't think of in my life right now. I don't think of love as a goal in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
I think of it more as like a series of skills that can be built.
Mm-hmm.
Than like this is the thing. Now, I think I'm the outlier in that. I think a lot of people do view it as a thing, and also I think it's because I have it, and I don't really. I think if I were without it, then I would value it. But yeah, it's a normal thing of like.
All it is competition. It's like the U.S. government doesn't.
You don't really know what you have until you lose it.
Yeah, that's true.
They're not worried about your national security.
Yeah, if I didn't. I went on a long trip recently, and I had to use the bathroom. I haven't gone on a long trip in a very long time, but it was the first time in a very long time that I had to use the bathroom and couldn't immediately do it.
Oh.
And I thought, like, oh, this I take for granted. Like, the fact that I'm always around a toilet, I don't think about in my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
But in the moment where I'm not, it's a big fucking deal. Like, my whole body, I'm sweating and shit. I'm like, can I find a bush? You know what I mean? But that's just because I'm in the state where I'm lacking. And when you're consistently not in that state, you get used to it and you move on to other things that you worry about. But that aligns, or I do. But that aligns with what I was saying about you're always gonna have problems. The question is, which problems do you have, and are you excited? Do you agree with the problems that you're working on? You know, I am very glad that one of the problems that I work on right now is I worry about my, well, I'm not worried right now, I just finished the semester, but I'm worried about my grades in school because
I just really don't want to, I'm not going to cross that line until I absolutely have to.
Yeah. Sorry, we kind of brought them over here, and now they're bothering you guys too.
Scared him over here?
I worry about grades. This is a great problem. I'm so happy I have this problem. But it is a problem.
Yeah.
Because if I fuck it up, I could really fuck up a lot of stuff. I worry about my motorcycle.
No, not for well. But like
But I'm glad to have these problems because I didn't worry about, a year ago. But I was because I was in a totally different situation. I worry about, let's just leave it at that. Actually, I don't want any more examples. I don't want to go too deep into this. But yeah, I'm not currently worried about the problem of seeking love, and that is probably because I have a bathroom near me, so to speak.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, but it's yeah. I'm grateful to not be in like severe desperation, and but I understand that different people are in different situations.
It's funny, you know, I've only recently, I would say maybe just within the past 2 months, maybe, I've only recently really gotten to a place where I'm comfortable, like, being single. And also not trying to just go out and hook up, you know what I mean? Because, like, for me, see, this is one of the annoying things I think about just my life experience is that I highly intertwine physical intimacy with those experiences of love, even when it's very clear that that's not what's happening. But my brain and my body are not connected in those areas, and it's really you know, it's so strange. It's such a strange thing. So the last person that I was kind of like hooking up with. Very much the type of person that I could see myself with, you know, and all it was hooking up, and yet I was comfortable with that because it's kind of like that. It's a little bit of a taste of a relationship and a little bit of that taste of like love or intimacy or whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm reminding myself, don't catch feelings for this person because it's not going to. There's nothing there. It's empty. It was empty. And you know, and it's trippy because like I've almost always been in a relationship. I think this is like the longest. No, this isn't the longest I've been single, but this is definitely like the longest I've been okay with being single and not trying to just like fuck everybody. And it's weird. It's weird. It's really weird. And some of it's circumstantial because where I'm living, it's not like I can have people over and stuff. You know what I mean? Like that'd be a little weird. I sleep on a fucking bunk bed. You know, like. That'd be a little awkward, I don't know. But I'm not really into college dorm shit, but that's about how it feels right now. So I'm just like, but yeah, it's kind of strange, you know, to think about that because like, maybe that's something in my own life I've always kind of had available, you know, and currently it's not like, and this is really, okay, just to be honest, this is the first time in my life where I'm not getting hit on left and right. This is the first time in my life where people aren't trying to get with me. It's weird. It's really weird. And there's some rejection shit going on in my heart because I'm just like, damn, I'm kind of okay with being single. I actually really love who I am and I love spending time with myself. But like, am I ever gonna get through that? I don't know. Am I gonna be the cat lady because I like myself and my cat's better than other people, or like men are unreliable or whatever? And it's like, it's weird. It's a weird thing. It's a very weird thing. And it's like, I'm not seeking it from other people. I'm in a similar spot as you, but I'm in a relationship with myself. You know, like I'm giving myself everything that I would bring to the table in a relationship is what I'm giving to myself. And I've stopped seeking it. You know, I go on, so I'll tell you a secret. So I still go on like Tinder and shit sometimes to give myself a sense of power and rejection because, you know, I'm human. But like by rejecting people who aren't even like wanting me, it gives me a sense of power of like, oh, I'm rejecting them, right? And so I flip through the book, right, and it makes me feel good about myself temporarily or whatever to move on to the next thing. And yeah, I don't know, like all of that shit. And this reminds me of love languages too.
Yep.
You know, like the whole love language thing. Like, what is your? Do you know what your love languages are?
No, and I don't pay any attention to them. That is my love language.
Right.
Yeah, no, no, is my short answer. But I try to learn other people's because it's useful. But no, I the way I view it is not in terms of love language, but just in terms of like my comfort or enjoyment in whatever situation I'm in. So I just feel like if I'm uncomfortable, try to figure out why, and if it's the result of someone else's behavior, then yeah, maybe I should let them know. But most of the time, it has nothing to do with them. So it's very much like I just have to deal with my own stuff and try to accept like other people's love, I think, is the only thing I try to do directly. But indirectly, no, I just live.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but
I think
yeah.
that's the best way to do love, though. Honestly.
Maybe, I don't know. There's some strong arguments against this method.
Oh,
There's some,
I don't know.
but you know, that's everybody's different.
Yeah. Well, I think when anybody tries too hard, we miss the mark every single time. You know, it's hard to
Yes,
focus on it.
you can miss the mark trying or miss the mark not trying. So unless trying increases the probability that you'll hit it, yeah, just try to do it. Yeah. I had a question on my mind, but it was so many statements ago that now I don't remember it. So
You want to fight? Look at him glaring at me. Do you want to fight?
I don't think the bee wants to fight.
The bee might want to fight. Look at him. Trying to figure me out.
He's not bothering, you know.
Nice.
He, she.
Hedging your bets essentially against, say, like, I mean, the thing that
All right,
can
I'm
be
going to wrap
illogical
things
is
up
talking
with
Okay.
the most important question in the universe.
Like, there's a point at which
Circles
very quickly it gets
or
out of control
triangles?
and you can't pay the
Oh.
interest anymore. So it's like running up your credit card. We're doing that, and it's going to come due pretty soon. So like they're either going to reset the system, or the bricks are just.
I guess I'd pick circles.
Just use a different payment.
That's right.
Different currencies.
Okay.
All right, this is over.
Okay.